He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Namesu eradise wunimi gwanko biane mabanke se yankupana medeme ho matoso. Surely he will deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. And in the name of he who died and rose again, shall you succeed and be blessed in the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. He had done this in the Most High, Almighty God, creator of the heaven and the earth, in the supreme ruler. Blessed. I feel blessed when I'm wrapped up in your love, dancing to my gospel song. Feel blessed. Oh, feel blessed. I feel blessed, 'cause your promises are sure. They are yea and amen. Feel blessed, feel blessed. I feel blessed when your mantle is upon my life. I can dance like David dance. Feel blessed, feel blessed. Let me hear you feel safe, blessed. Feel blessed, feel blessed. I feel blessed when your mantle is upon my life. I can dance like David did. Let me hear you say, ooh, Lord. Everybody sing, ooh, Lord. We want on that team who can, ooh, Lord. You've been so didn't me shuffle, hearing me. Mommy, don't go up from Eddie Dibia. Tell me, Consumer, and won't you? Namanunga shall make your man. Tell me, Consumer, and won't you? Namanunga shall make your man. Indeed, Mr. Rock, and I do go from Biara. Misuro, and I do go from Biara. On Nema Kucham, and Nema Kucham, Yanimu and Ije, and Nimu and Ije, Ninasina Metina. I feel blessed when I'm wrapped up in your love, dancing to my gospel song. Feel blessed, feel blessed. I feel blessed, 'cause your promises are sure. They are yea and amen. Feel blessed, feel blessed. I feel blessed when your mantle is upon my life. I can dance like David dance. Feel blessed, feel blessed. Let me hear you feel safe, blessed. Feel blessed, feel blessed. I feel blessed when your mantle is upon my life. I can dance like David did. Feel blessed. We want on that team who can, ooh, Lord. Blessed.
Uncle, you know, our elders have said that without a patient, you cannot able to urinate the beer. You have not believed in what have happened to me. You know, the airline, they evacuate my luggage to Nigeria.
Oh!
Yeah, when I'm talking, they have threatened that they will discover it for me, and in 48 hours' time, they misplace it back to me. You know, I miss him so much. You know? It's so beautiful.
Yes.
Look at small nose, his small lips, and the small armpit.
This is love.
Yeah.
Now you can ask Amanie. The truth, eh?
Of course.
And you think you know the truth?
Yes, he is not my brother, and I share nothing with him.
Shano Humbi. Today, Bancha Zachido.
Mother, what are you talking about?
Yeah, baby. I like the way you shake body. I get money, and then you bring my young cody. I swear what lie. Say what you make here, you no go sorry. Forget your worry. I dey come to shop my nephew money. Heba.
Uncle, where have you been?
Keep quiet. Keep quiet. Whoa. Don't you know, if you wake my sister up, she will do me pasta for coming home drunk. Eh? Yes, keep quiet for
Kofi, you are welcome.
Hey! My baby, you are not asleep. Hey! Okay, it's okay. You can go ahead and insult me for coming home drunk. It's all right. No, wait.
Courtship is not fair to girls.
Madre, you know, Donna and me, we have plans already before. But wow, look at this cars. Whoa, it's very grande. I love it. I'm so depressed. I love it so much. This casa. Oh, casa is it's Italian for house.
Okay. We heard of your injury, and we've been so worried, eh?
Yeah. You know, Uncle, our elders have said that it's not everything that have a grater, it's a roofing sheet. Yeah. I have 2 serious amputation on my leg.
Oh.
Yeah, they amputate here and they amputate here.
Hey.
You know? Yeah, so all that is left is to, prayer and look forward to the heavenly God,
Oh, Madre, what you have to do? Yeah. Pizza, lasagna. What are you doing?
The jeans is €1,000 jeans.
€1,000. €1,000. And what's it? That was only for a warrior senator.
I will wash it myself for you.
Madre.
I heard your contract was not renewed. And no other team was prepared to sign you on.
Kofi, what are you doing? The boy just arrived. We haven't offered him water. We haven't asked him a money, and you're already jumping into issues. Why? Donna, you are not a stranger in this house.
Hey, Mami, are you trying to tell Jojo something?
It's telling me who?
Jojo,
mind your
there isn't come on.
Don't mind your uncle. He left his brains under the driver's seat of the last articulator he drove. My dear, please go and bring some water for your husband to drink,
Madre.
Oh, Donna.
You know, our elders have said that the woman but us is behind because it have a patience. Donna and me. You know, Donna and me, we are not a marriage yet, you know.
And you should hurry up and marry. Soon, before the unthinkable happens.
Is that all your luggage? What is the rest? You left them in the... Emmanuel, hurry up and go and bring Jojo's luggage. I can't wait to see what my nephew brought me from Europe. Hurry up.
Give me. That is all you know, eh? Give me.
Yanko, you know, our elders have said that without a patient.
The woman who is quarrelsome. The woman who is quarrelsome. It is interesting what the Bible has to say about the quarrelsome woman. In the book of Proverbs in particular, there are many, many verses. For instance, chapter 21, verse 9, and then chapter 25, verse 24, they have the same wording and the same thing. They said, better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. Then you go on to other places and it's all there. So who is a quarrelsome wife? I make two distinctions. There's a woman who is diddy, she would make noise and come at you and the whole neighborhood. There's the woman who, if you marry, your neighbors will not buy television because there is enough entertainment from the drama coming from your house. That is one quarrelsome woman. But there's another quarrelsome woman. This is the woman who is an expert in cold treatment. Offend this woman and you can go for 1 month in the same house and she won't talk to you. That is also a quarrelsome woman. And if you relate in love to this woman, a quarrelsome woman, then God have mercy on you. The second woman who also you should avoid, if you can, is a woman who does not love herself, or the woman who has a very poor self-esteem. The Bible says that there are 3 things that the earth trembles under, and under 4, the earth cannot bear up. And among the 4 things that the earth shakes to see is a woman who doesn't love herself who gets married. A person who doesn't love herself is a woman without self-esteem, has a lot of insecurities. Marry this woman and there will be no peace because her insecurities will haunt you every time. Tell this woman you love her and there's trouble because she doesn't believe you. Go out with this woman and let another lady smile at you or wave at you, and you can be sure there will be World War III when you get back home. The woman who doesn't love herself is a woman who would make loving her extremely difficult. No. Let me lay down a few principles. Never quit your job for a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Yeah. Because there's no guarantee that relationship would last. If it goes bust, what then do you do? Yeah. You're going to be left hanging. I think that the two of you should have a chat and let the person understand and trust you in this. Of course, if there is sexual harassment going on and you are not comfortable with it and you want to move on, that's a different issue altogether. But if you think you are cool with what is going on and you are able to handle it, get the other party in your life to wake up to it. Because trust me, if you left this one, that person will have issues with the next one as well. Unless you go and work in the Roman Catholic Church.
Can I just speak on trust issues? The thing about trust issues is that a lot of the person that we are today is dependent on how we've been parented. So when you're with someone who has trust issues, you have to realize that the disease is deeper than you. And so they need to do a lot of introspection to try and discover exactly what it is that triggers that response. Because distrust, innate distrust, is really insecurity or fear that is manifesting that way. So if you can get to the root of it, then you can deal with it.
And I think it's wrong for anybody to push another person to give up on something he or she loves or is passionate about. You can talk to the person, point out why you are uncomfortable with it, why you think it will be harmful to her or him or to the relationship, and let the person make up his or her own mind to take that. But don't force the person. Once you are forced to take such a decision, you are in danger. You are in trouble. No, you are in trouble.
And it is not right. It's like being asked to choose between your spouse and your mother. Not a good choice.
Well, Uncle, it's amazing.
Honey, I have laid the bed.
Tomorrow I have
a meeting. I have a business meeting tomorrow.
Sir? Oh, sweetheart. Here, take this.
Get the best-selling novels, The Deal, and Perfect Couple by Uncle White at 40 Ghana cedis each. Available at all Shell shops, selected bookshops, and total filling stations. For inquiries, call 050-554-6010 or WhatsApp 050-554-6030 for your copies.
3. Then there's a woman who is immoral, or the kind of woman the Bible describes as a wayward woman. This is a woman who spreads her favors too widely. She regards herself as God's gift to men, and is too generous with her sexual favors. Marry this woman and she will still sleep with other men. It's one of the most difficult things to deal with. Talk with her, plead with her. She will say she's sorry. She would sleep with all your best friends. If you are not fortunate, she may even sleep with your driver. That's an immoral woman. Marrying her, when you marry a woman like that, you can never sleep with. When she's sitting in the house, you want to know, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? You call her, hey, where are you? But no matter how vigilant you are, she will swerve you. She will dribble you and go and do her thing, because that is who she is. And you are well advised to stay away from a woman like that.
Honey, won't you come to bed?
I'll be with you. I'll be with you shortly.
Come on, let's go to bed too. And you're doing this.
Sir? Sweetheart, I think it's getting late. You should come to bed.
Get the best-selling novels, The Deal, and Perfect Couple by Uncle White at 40 Ghana cedis each. Available at all Shell shops, selected bookshops, and total filling stations. For inquiries, call 050-554-6010 or WhatsApp 050-554-6030 for your copies.
Money, I find Antina.
Of our wedding, Tony, you were busily making your ex pregnant.
So this one, I'm not guilty. It wasn't 1 hour. It was 2 hours.
Hey, Tony,
that guy, what was his name? Martin.
Jesus.
Are you saying that you're not aware of what Bishop has done for us?
Remembrance me.
What's up, Auntie? Prayer meeting. I know your nice service.
And neither did any of the pastors know of any plan for my son. And that is a very big blasphemy against the Church of Christ and the Spirit of God. Matthew 12, verse 31.
Amen.
You are welcome back from the commercial break. Look.
thought-provoking, motivational, inspirational, attitude, values, faith, soul-inspiring content, value for money. New Look, the magazine that reports on our values, attitudes, and faith for discerning people. Rover Report Monthly Magazine.
Hello, it is another Friday, 12:30 GMT, and I welcome you to the 27th edition of ENCORE, the Facebook Live platform on which we discuss all things love, marriage, and sex. They call me Uncle Ebo White, and I am so grateful that you would make the time and the investment to be with us. You can watch us also on Periscope, on YouTube, and our WhatsApp number is on the screen for you to be able to communicate to us and to correspond with us. This month, we are running through the English alphabet in a series we have dubbed the ABCs of Love and Marriage. In this series, we pick a letter of the English alphabet and use 2 or 3 words that begin with that particular letter of the alphabet to reflect on love and marriage. We have already cleared 2 letters, A and B. So today we're going on to the next letter, C. So join me as we go and look at 3 C words that would teach us a lot about love and marriage. Now, the first C word is commitment. Commitment. And then the second one we'll be looking at is companionship. And the third will be caring. So let us start. Commitment. If marriage was a building, commitment will be its foundation. Without commitment, there is only heartbreak and insecurity. Commitment is what makes a person throw himself fully into a relationship. The good news is that the human being needs to be committed to something or to someone before he can deliver the best that he's capable of. And every one of us commits to something. At any point in time, we are committed to something. The question is to who and to what. Commitment burns our bridges and gives us no choice but to focus on achieving results. The story is told of a general who leads his troops into battle. They land on enemy territory by sea. And as soon as they get down from their ships, he knows the battle is going to go against them. So what does he do? He doesn't get the men back into the ship to sail away. He rather gives the instructions that they should burn all the ships. And as the ships go up in flames, he turns to the men and says, this is our only, you've seen that our way of escape is the ships, and we've burned them. Now we have no other choice but to win this battle, or we die on this battlefield. Now guess what? They won the battle. And what was the general trying to do? The general was trying to create commitment in his troops. He knew that when people are not fully committed, they are not giving their best. They give excuses and they run away from trouble. There's another story that would also teach us the importance of commitment. A rich man invites guests to his mansion, and he takes them to the swimming pool. And he tells them that in this pond are crocodiles. But if any of you can swim across this pond to the other side, I'll give you a huge fortune. Now, of course, nobody was going to jump into a pond when they've been told that there are crocodiles. But just then, everyone hears this loud splash. Someone had jumped into the water. And they watch with amazement as this person just swims frantically to the other side. And when he gets there, the people break into applause and say, congratulations, how did you do it? How could you do this? And then the rich man comes and says, well, congratulations, you have won yourself the fortune I promised. And this young man, still panting and dripping from what he has been through, just says, I have only one question to ask. Who pushed me into the pond? He had not jumped into the pond. He had been pushed into the pond. And once pushed into the pond, he realized that he could defy crocodiles and swim to the other side. Without commitment in a relationship, what you have is an arrangement, not marriage. Without commitment, a marriage lasts only as long as one party finds it convenient or self-serving. As soon as there are issues and challenges, that party would jump out of the marriage. So what does it mean to be committed? Well, first, let me just make one point on what is not commitment. A lot of people, especially women, believe it is a sign of commitment to endure unkindness and cruelty in a relationship. They believe it is a sign of commitment to forgive and forget anything and everything, even if the offending party has not shown any remorse nor any indication of wanting to turn a new leaf. Well, that is not commitment. You know, true commitment dictates that the best response to cruelty and to abuse is to put yourself out of harm's way. If you stay in the relationship and the man is battering you every evening, that is not commitment. That is a lack of commitment. And this is because commitment begins with you. It begins with yourself. So what does it mean? What does commitment mean? It means you are committed to your own well-being and your own happiness. It means you are not considering any other options than what you have committed yourself to. It means that you refuse to consider what could have been or entertain any what-if thoughts. You know, sometimes there are people who are married and they are always asking, oh, what would it have been like if I had married the other person, the boy I was dating at school, or the other guy? No, commitment rules all that out. In the end, therefore, commitment is about honor. It's about honor. Before I move on to the next letter, to the next word, C word, let me just share the following statements with you. 1, the quality of a marriage is in direct proportion to the level of commitment of both couples. And it should be both couples. 2, anyone can fall in love. Only the committed stay in love. 3, Andy Andrews said, quote, when confronted with a challenge, the committed heart searches for solutions. The undecided heart searches for an escape. 4, commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the mood in which you said it has left you. I'd like to take that one again. Commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the mood in which you said it has left you. You know, sometimes when the anointing comes, you can say any kind of thing. You can make all kinds of promises. The question is whether you're going to carry out the promise when the mood in which you said it has left. And when you do that, that is commitment. And finally, on commitment, marriage is 1% love and 99% commitment. Marriage is 1% love and 99% commitment. Well, let's go on to the next C word, companionship. Companionship. In Genesis, the reason God gives for creating marriage is that it was not good for man to be alone. In other words, man needed a companion. Marriage is for companionship. Companionship is when you feel a sense of closeness being with another person, even when neither of you is talking. You know, if the only time you feel a sense of closeness is that each of you, there's quite a lot of words going, then you haven't really gotten to the point of being a companion. You have a companion even when nothing is being said, the two of you are comfortable and you feel closeness. That is companionship. If you are not a companion for your spouse, you are not a spouse. You can call yourself anything, but don't call yourself husband or wife when you are not a companion to your spouse. Because the first responsibility of a spouse is to be a companion, which is the reason why God created marriage. You are a companion, you are my companion when I can reach you when I need you. You are a companion when I can count on you. You are a companion when you share my vision in life and you are supportive. Then you are my companion. But companionship must not be one way. It must not be just one party who is always there. You must also be there for the other party, and the other party must be there for you. When you fail to be a companion, your spouse's need for a companion may lead him or her astray. Many affairs began with one party being starved of companionship at home. And when he is offered that companionship outside the home, they cannot resist it. So let's watch this very carefully. The unfortunate thing for many of us is that we try to become a companion for someone, but forget the first person we need to be a companion to, and that is yourself. If you have not learned to be a companion to yourself, you cannot be a true companion to anyone. This means you have to learn to live with yourself, and you have to learn how to be alone by yourself before you can appreciate and be a companion to another person. The final C word for us this afternoon is caring. Now listen. Commitment makes you a companion, and companion makes you caring. If you are not caring towards your spouse, you do not deserve the title spouse. The human being is made for caring and to be cared for. That is one distinctive feature of a human being. We need to be cared for, and we need to care for somebody. You know, of all mammals, the human being requires caring more than any other. The calves or cubs of most animals are up and running within minutes of birth. The human baby, on the other hand, remains helpless and in need of tender, loving care for years and never outlives that need for caring. So, if you marry and you are not caring, you starve your spouse of a vital component for their well-being and fulfillment. But like companionship, caring begins with you. There are people, especially women, who care for everybody. They are there for everybody. And yet they feel very depressed and miserable. And they are depressed and miserable because they are there for everyone apart from themselves. So, begin by caring for yourself. For instance, care for what you eat before you care for what another person eats. Care about what you wear before you care about what somebody else wears. Care about how you feel before you care about how someone feels. And when you truly care for yourself, you will have what it takes to care for another. If you don't care for yourself, but you invest all your energy caring for another person, you will always find yourself miserable and bitter. This is the cause of the unhappiness of many people in marriage, especially of many women, many wives. Now, we've covered 3 words in that begin with the letter C. I call them the C words: commitment, companion, and caring. There is something that runs through all those words. I hope you have noted through the presentation, and it is this: marriage begins with you. Marriage is about you. It's about you being the best human being you can be. Marriage is not about you making somebody happy. It's you, when you are okay, the other party will be okay. So if you are not living your best life and you suspend your life for the sake of another, you are not bringing your best self to the table, and you will undermine marriage. And in the end, you cannot have a great marriage. Well, I hope the presentation has been useful to you. We have looked at three C words: commitment, companionship, and caring. I hope they've been useful to you, and I'm ready for your questions and your comments. So, shall we begin?
Uncle, from Tricia. Wow, Uncle, 1% love?
Yes, 1% love, 99% commitment. Okay, let's go on. Kauta, do you have any question on yours?
Mommy Adiapena says, Uncle, when you truly care for yourself, it is only truly when you truly care for yourself that you can care for another?
Yes, it is. It is. Otherwise, what will happen is that you will be very resentful of the caring you are giving. When you're caring for somebody and you haven't cared for yourself, you don't have the resources to continue giving. And you would always be bitter because something within you is also going to cry out and say, what about me? What about me? Who is caring for me? Who is caring for me? And so you are at your best. You can give of your best when you feel good and you feel okay. So yes, caring begins with caring for yourself. Groom yourself well. There are people who are taking care of invalids or of their family and have never, especially women, they have never done their hair in a long time. And they feel miserable about it. Well, every now and then, let them all take care of themselves and you go do your hair and come back. They will not die. The world will not come to an end. Care for yourself first, and you will have what it takes to care for people. Too many people are making the mistakes of caring for everybody. Everybody calls them. Everybody, they become like Sebi. For those of you who are not Ghanaians, the word Sebi may not mean anything to you. But when you're going to say something unpleasant, but you don't mean it to be offensive, you have to preface it with that word Sebi. And that is what I'm saying. So there are people who care for everybody. They are there for everybody. And therefore, they become like a toilet bowl. Everybody comes and sits on them and download and leave them. And they feel treated like trash because that is what is happening. You've got to care for yourself. You've got every time, you have needs yourself. And those needs must be satisfied if you are going to continue reaching out to the needs of other people.
President Bruce says, thank you. I am seriously starting today. I just got the remedy. I will surely care for myself first. Then Tricia says, but won't people say you are selfish?
Well, you remember what Jesus said? And these are principles that I'm taking from Jesus. What did he say? That you love your neighbor as you love yourself. So what was he saying? The basis for love always begins with your love for yourself. That's the basis. So that is not selfish. Selfishness is when you take all the resources for the whole house and just blow it on yourself and you don't mind what happens to the others. No, this one, what I'm saying is that, yes, there are others who need you, but you also need yourself. So attend to yourself first, and then after that, attend to the others. But don't attend to yourself without remembering, without tending to the others to take care of them as well. If you haven't learned to swim, don't try to save somebody who is drowning. First, learn to swim. Then you can help somebody who is drowning.
From
But Yamwa, why is it 1% love?
Because after marriage, love is not as important as the commitment. Love is a feeling. It comes and goes. And that is where a lot of people have issues. You know, you meet a girl for the first time, you meet a man for the first time, and you go home and you can't sleep. Even when you haven't spoken to them. They occupy your mind. You wake up in the morning, and when they speak to you, you can go for days just smiling, just because he spoke to you. What is happening is that some endorphins are waking you. Your hormones are waking you. And you're feeling so good. You're feeling so good about yourself because of the mood in which you are. But guess what? That mood will subside. It will go down. After marriage, after a few days, sometimes a few weeks, you will wake up and not feel that same way. On the other hand, and this is where the mischief of life comes in, you may begin to feel that about somebody else. That same rush of excitement and of palpitations, you may feel it about somebody else. No. Take it easy. Love may get you to decide that I think I would like to explore a further relationship with this person. But once that is done, it is not about love, it is about commitment. It is about you every day deciding that, you know, I accept this person with all his faults, with all his weaknesses. He is not the best, but I'm also not the best. We'll work this out. We'll work this out. We'll work this out. That is why it is 1% love, 99% commitment.
From Belinda Ada, marriage is about you. How?
There are people who think that they interpret what the Bible says about, and the two shall be one, to mean that half plus one. Half plus half is equal to 1. That is not the mathematics for marriage. The mathematics of marriage is this: 1 times 1 equals to 1. In other words, one complete human being, one person who has a life of his own or her own, linking up with another person who has a life of his own and a focus of his own, they then become one. Each of them with a goal, each of them with a vision, each of them waking up every morning excited about their life as an individual. So, and that is only when they can be excited about their life together. Now, if you don't do that and you marry when you are not a full person, what will happen is that after a few years, if you are lucky, your partner will begin to disrespect you. Will begin to disrespect you because you'll be making too many demands that you need not make on him. Because you become clingy, you become insecure, and all that, and it will bring the relationship down. It will affect your marriage. So, marriage is about you. Be your best self. Be your full self. And then, when the right person comes, you live your lives together so that even when you are apart, even when you are about your business and he is about his business, you still feel a certain closeness. Because you come home together and you have stories to share. You have experiences to share. You have things to smile about, things to share. That kind of marriage is bliss. And I wish that for you.
Uncle, in relationships where you care for but don't feel cared for, should you still keep caring for that person, or you need to be selfish at times?
If you find yourself in that situation where you think you are caring too much and you are not being cared for, the lack of care is not coming from the person you are relating to. It's coming from yourself. You are not caring for yourself. So take a moment and care for yourself small, and you suddenly discover that you are fine. So pay attention to yourself. You are not paying too much attention to yourself.
Miranda Buedu says, Uncle, the world is struggling to make our husbands not appreciate our companionship, since it's been like a competition from other single ladies. How do I stand out for him to appreciate my efforts?
What's the name of this person?
Miranda.
Miranda, send me a name with that R. Come again? Buedu, okay. Buedu may be the same name, right? Yes. All right, okay. All right, Auntie Buedu, listen to me. The single ladies don't matter. They are not a factor. And I say this to all married people. Don't be insecure about the single ladies. Yes, your husband may look at them once in a while when he's driving past. Allow him. It is free. And let him do that. As long as he keeps driving. Don't make too much case about it. And so don't ask, who are you looking at? Who are you looking at? Why are you looking at? Oh, let him go. Let him go. There, I met this delightful lady. And she said, my husband, I point out the ladies to him. So when we are driving down, I said, Kojo, look. Have you seen that girl? Oh, the dress looks good on her. Don't you think so? And I said, I know he has seen the girl already, but he always pretends he hasn't seen. No, the single ladies are not the issue. Just make sure that you are comfortable with yourself. Make sure that you feel good about yourself. Make sure that you are being the best you can. No one can compete with you. Remember, before he married you, there were other single ladies out there. He chose you. That counts for something.
Uncle, whenever I go all out for him, he seems to pull back and give a lot of attitude, like I mean nothing to him. But when I hold back, he comes around often like he's found new love. Uncle, please, what do you think is the problem?
Continue playing the game. Continue playing the game of holding back. And let him come chasing. Because, listen, ladies, we are men, we are hunters. Do you understand? Our DNA is hunting DNA. Our hard disk is wired for hunting. If you give us the impression that we've captured you already, in every sense of the word, we'll go hunting. So every now and then, yes, play that game. If it's working for you, keep playing. You've stumbled upon something, but you don't think it's important. It is important. So, for instance, you want to go out to watch my play. He says, I'm not going. So, okay, Kojo, then give me the car key. I'll see you. Stay home and watch television. I'm going. By the time you close, he will be at the door. He will be at the gate to take you back home. So, be full. And I think it confirms what I've been saying this afternoon, that it is about you. It's about you being the best possible human being you can be. Yeah.
From Evans. Uncle, my wife is so jealous that she sometimes loses her cool in public because she says she loves and cares for me. I believe this is witchcraft.
Evans, no, that is not witchcraft. That is insecurity. That is insecurity. Your wife is dealing with the issues. Your wife is dealing with inferiority complex. Your wife does not love herself. She has issues she's struggling with. So do some homework. Do some housekeeping. First, take time to check on her self-image and help her to build her self-image. And once she's felt that comfortable about herself, you'll find that the tantrums and the jealousy and things like that will not continue.
Mark Best says, but uncle, even if you care for yourself, don't you expect your partner to care for you too?
Oh yes, but then I'm saying that it would have to be a two-way street, wouldn't it? When you feel good about yourself, giving caring is very easy. I think let me give Kaute, what is your football team?
Black Stars.
When more Harry.
Oh, you mean club? Okay, Asante Kotoko.
Asante Kotoko?
Yes.
Really? And that's the supporters for Asante Kotoko?
Well, it's my history.
Okay, all right. But Kaute, have you not found a situation where Asante Kotoko beats us and beats them well? When you go home that day, don't you see that you are much more caring, much more open, much more giving?
The world is beautiful.
The world is beautiful. Why? Because you're feeling beautiful about yourself. Nothing has changed apart from you and what you feel about yourself. So that is what I mean, that when you care for yourself and you are feeling good, it becomes easier. Caring for another person becomes normal. Asking somebody, how did your day go, becomes normal. Sitting down and listening to the person talk to you and really listening becomes normal. Why? Because you feel good. You are okay. So yes, it does not mean that you will not need the caring of your partner. But what I'm saying is that if you don't care for yourself, it doesn't matter how caring your partner is. It will not work for you.
From Christine, 1% love? Wow. Does it mean in marriage there could be commitment, caring, and companionship without love?
Yes, there could be. And I'll prove that to you. You know, a lot of our mothers and grandmothers and grandfathers and fathers, for that matter, their marriages were arranged marriages. And some of those marriages worked very well. So how do you explain that? Those were not marriages that began on the basis of love. It began on loyalty. It began on obedience. So yes, I still maintain that marriage is 1% love, 99% commitment.
Uncle, what if your spouse seems to show more care to others than to you? Even though I am caring for myself, he seems to pull back often as well. What do I do?
That is always a difficult situation when your partner seems to be spending more time with outsiders than you, seem to be more interested and can hold a conversation with outsiders more than you, seems much more excited about being with others than you. It calls for a talk. Have a sit down with him. If the two of you can't get anywhere, bring in third parties to help the two of you deal with this.
Hunting is in their DNA. Is there no antidote to change the hunter to a shepherd?
Oh, I love this. I love this. Who sent this?
Ajwa.
Ajwa, I think this is one of the best that has come through today. I love this. I love this. Can't we change them into a shepherd? Well, the greatest shepherd we know was King David. My people are getting nervous here. The greatest shepherd we know was King David, and we know what he did to the lion and the bear. He was a hunter as well. So yes, I think I like the analogy. A hunter and a shepherd. That is great. But guess this. He can become a shepherd, but he will never stop being a hunter. That is why give him reason to hunt at home. Keep him hunting with you. Because, you see, every human being has depth to himself or herself. You are much deeper than your husband will discover in a year, in a lifetime. So, hey, bring it on. Let the mystery rule. And let him every day begin to go, wow, wow, is that you, Ajwa? Wow. That is where you need to get to. But I love the illustration.
Uncle, what if your companion, who happens to be your husband, what if you are a companion to your husband, caring and loving, but he still cheats with 3 kids in the marriage?
Well, how did the marriage begin in the first place? Did he start becoming a cheat after you married? Or it was there, and those are things that you close your eyes to. There is a 4th C word that I think on the basis of this question, I'll have to throw in. And I wish that would apply more for those who are not married yet. Choices. C for choices. Make your choice well. Make your choice very well. And don't just, too many people are so desperate to get married that they rationalize away all the warning signs. And then they get married and they expect the warning signs to go. No, they won't go. They will become actualized. So make the right choice and you'll be fine.
Victor says, Uncle, can I marry a woman who is older than me?
Yes, Victor, I don't think there's any law against that. Just that how much older, and you yourself, how much mature are you? Because women at the same age, a woman is more mature in life than a man at her age. So even if you marry your age mate, you are marrying someone who is more mature than you. Now, if you marry someone who is older, then you would have to be one hell of a person who is very mature. So if you are that kind of person, you are deep, your friends, you've surrounded yourself with older friends and things like that, yes, then it could work well. But you educate yourself about the downsides to this situation. And if you look at all that and you still think that, look, we can make it work, I wish you all the best.
From Nana K on our YouTube page. Uncle, please, how will you deal with a situation where your partner calls and stays quiet for a long time without even asking how your day was and other things?
I get the impression that your partner is not in the same geographical area with you. Is that it? Would that be the case? Because, and he calls and he's saying on the line, well, is that him? Are you relating to somebody who does not talk much? Or this is somebody who is bubbly? If it's bubbly, then there's something the matter, so you could ask. But if you're talking to somebody who is dealing with somebody who is very reserved and does not like talking, then you do the talking. He's called you. So if the questions he's not asking, you ask him and see whether we can get a conversation going.
Mr. Ewuku Ephraim Kobi says, so uncle, what does it mean when people divorce? Does it mean that the commitment moved from 99% to 1%? Because a friend said if it had not been for love, he would have left his marriage. What's your take on this?
Ephraim, you should have been here to ask the question, so I won't answer it. Yeah, let's go on.
Says, what if your partner cares too much for others, which doesn't make you realize the difference between you and his lady friends sometimes?
I think it's a very important issue you've brought up. And quite often, this situation arises because the average young man is ignorant of what it means to say, I am in a relationship. A lot of young men love the attention that comes from giving attention to other people. They've built a life and a habit of being nice to people, and they feed on the energy that comes from being admired by ladies. They don't realize that as soon as they say they've committed themselves to a relationship, that situation needs to change. That status needs to change. And so they are doing that, and in their mind, they know they don't think they are doing anything wrong. So even when you complain, they think there's something wrong with you. It is a mark of immaturity. It's a mark of the young man not fully understanding what it means to say I'm committed in this relationship. There is a formula that will work for every young man. What you haven't done for the woman in your life, you can't do for another person. What you haven't said to the woman in your life, you can't say to another person. What you haven't given to the woman in your life, you cannot give to another person. If you can work with this formula, I think it will help every young person to become a much better lover. What you haven't done for the woman in your life, what you haven't said to the woman in your life, what you haven't given to the woman in your life, you don't have the right to say to a third party.
Uncle, so we are exempted. Ladies.
You exempt yourself. And you'll be exempted. So you go ahead and exempt yourself. Well, I can see one of the most remarkable young men on the team, Elijah, on the hot seat. Elijah doesn't take that horse seat lightly. And quite often he takes that horse seat when someone has prepared him on his thing. Yeah, Elijah, let's go.
Uncle, please, is in relation to companionship and you as a person. Because I am thinking or I should say, if you're in a relationship and you need to care for one person more than others, does it not become more of, because you think your world is only just the two of you and you feel that's the two of you in that relationship, so others do not matter, and also placing or trying to merge the fact that we are all humans, one way or the other, we must care for our fellow beings.
Elijah, do me a favor. Can you simplify your question and ask it in a way I can understand? You talk to me as if you are talking to a 10-year-old. Okay. Take your time. I'm listening.
Okay. Uncle.
Yeah.
You said when in a relationship,
yes,
you should not share the companionship that you offer to other people
outside the relationship. Okay.
But I'm also trying to ask, does it not then just separate you from the community that you are in as a human being?
Okay.
Who should also offer?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But then, as long as you remember that your commitment to that person, special person in your life, comes first. Yes, because you see, we have responsibilities. We wear different hats, don't we? And we have responsibilities and obligations. And the maturity in life comes when you attend to all of them. But you must give each of them a weight. Now the problem comes when you give the same weight to everything, then you've got it wrong. Last week we learned about balance. There's got to be a balance here. The special woman in your life cannot be treated on the same level as your colleague in the office or as that querista from church. There must be a weight. There must be a different level. Unfortunately, what women tend to complain about, let me give you an example. The woman in your life is not well. Your wife is not well. You leave her and say that, but you must go to church. You must go to work. Your female member of the church is not well, and you are taking time off to go and visit that person. No woman would accept this. No woman would understand, and they wouldn't, and they don't have to accept it, because you are not doing it right. Your lady must know that he will do this for me. And you see, when you do that for them, you'll get to the wonderful position where your lady frees you to help other people. And I say, oh, I hear Alice from church is not well. Have you called her? Let's go and visit her. That comes when the woman feels that her place is solid, is secure. Then she becomes your companion and cares with you about the things you care about. And that is always a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Uncle from Essingham, please, how long should you continue playing the game of holding back to get your partner's attention?
Until he grows. Until he grows up into maturity and then you don't require that anymore. Because if that's the only thing that works for you, then play it. But hopefully he will get to the point where he rises up to the commitment he has made to you, and you don't need to manipulate him in any way or form.
From Nanajua, Uncle, is it okay to marry a man without any educational background when the woman holds a master's degree? Please help. Thank you.
Mommy, I'm hesitating a little, not because I don't appreciate the question. I think it's a very important question. I'm hesitating because I'm surprised at how often this thing comes up on this platform. I think will be about the 4th time or so that a similar question has come up. And so it means that it is an issue out there. So let me attempt an introduction. What I will do is that I will make time, after we've done the ABCs of love, to look at this one. Now, generally, men have very fragile egos. And when you relate to a man, especially when you marry him, you must always be careful of that. And because of that fragile ego that a man has, he may read into certain things. In marriage, what a man values most from his wife is respect. A man values that above anything else, respect. Now, balance that, a man's need for respect with his fragile ego. Now, he marries you knowing full well that you have a higher education than him. Society has socialized him to understand that he is not worthy of a woman with a higher educational background. So he comes, so whenever there's an issue and you disagree with him, what he's going to say, he's not going to look at the merit of the disagreement or the merit of your views. What is going to, you think you are better educated than me, so you think you can ride over me. When I say anything, you don't want to listen. Meanwhile, what he's saying may not be wise. But just because you have, so that will become the battle you fight every time. Everything will be, he will pass it through the prism of, you think you have a better educational background than me. That is why you are doing this. Plus, sooner or later, he will go and look for an illiterate woman with whom he can throw his weight around. And that will become, and then you may become a sidekick, even though you are the missus. So there are issues. Having said that, depending on who the man is, and because education doesn't come only in the classroom, who the man is, what influences he has had in his life, what experiences he has, his vision, his dream, the quality of his mind, he may be a much more of a man than somebody with a PhD, depending on who he is. But don't ignore the possible issues that you could run into and you may have to deal with.
From Padago. Please, Uncle, can you marry a woman who has given birth to one?
Oh yes, you can. You can. You can. I think you can. And some of those marriages have worked well. But once you are marrying her, remember to make the child fully yours. Remember to make the child fully yours.
What does a man mean when he says, "You don't respect me"? Because I don't insult him, I don't raise my voice, I do what I think is right. But he keeps saying I don't respect him. I feel he means something different. Can you give your opinion?
Two things. It may mean nothing more than his sense of insecurity. So like the answer I just gave, he's reading a lot into even your body language, your tone of voice, and everything. So it may be nothing more than the way he sees himself. And he's reflecting that at you. Or it may be that deep down your heart, you don't respect him. Because you see, you don't need to tell me I don't respect you for me to feel you don't respect me. I can feel it in your body language. I can feel it in your tone of voice. So it could be either, and in your case, I have no way of knowing. I hope it is just him having inferiority complex and having insecurity issues. And I hope that, because then what he needs is to begin to see himself in a different light, and the home will be better.
Uncle Nanake is back. Nanake asked us a question on when his partner calls him. When his partner calls him, she says nothing.
Yes.
The follow-up, we stay in different locations and she talks laughs, and feels comfortable with her friends, but does not do same with me.
Wow. Wow. Were you friends before you married? Before you married, could the two of you hold a conversation? Because if before you married, you did not have that relationship, it won't come naturally in after marriage. But it bothers you, so have a talk and find out what is going on.
Uncle, how long should we date before we get married?
Nobody can legislate that. It depends on the two of you. It depends on what your schedules are, how much opportunities you have, how many opportunities you have to meet. There are people who can date for 3 years, and yet if you look at how often they are together, you realize that in effect they have dated for only 1 month. So it depends on the two of you, your schedules, the kind of lives you are living, the kind of people you are. So nobody can legislate it. And generally, when you are ready, you will know.
Uncle, is there anything like too long, dating for too long?
From a distance, yes. I mean, if you tell me that you've dated somebody for 8 years, the first question that I will ask is, why? What's going on?
9 years old.
Kapute, there was something wrong with you.
No, I think we were quite young, so yeah.
No, and in your case, there was some distance that came in at a certain point.
Yeah.
In
right.
Geographical
Yes.
distance. So it goes to what I'm saying, that depending on what your individual schedules are, that could affect the length of it. But the point I'm saying, I'm not saying that if you dated for 8 years it is wrong. I'm saying that I would ask why, what's going on, because it will look like 8 years is long. But some people also start very early. So of course, if you started in secondary school, then that's a marathon, and you are in for a long wait.
Uncle, will it be rude to tell my family to reduce my bride price?
Wow. You want to marry that boy badly, eh? No, it will not be rude, but they will not listen to you. They will not listen to you. But see if you can talk to somebody about it and see, we are starting out life anew. I don't want to feel that you've sold me. So can you do something about it? And if they are still insistent on it, help him to pay. I think that will help.
Hello, Uncle. Do I have to involve my family do I have to involve my family to let my wife understand that I've had enough children?
Aye. How many children do you have anyway? Because we've had enough children. What does it mean? 2, 3, or 15, or 10? So that she wants Bedujai. No, let's know how many do you have? And does it mean that the two of you cannot come to an agreement on this? Yeah, let's go on.
Agosi says, dating for long saves marriage, or?
It saves marriage? In what way? In what way? Listen. When you date for a long time, there are people who say that then you get to know the person well. No, you don't get to know the person well. No matter how long you date, after marriage there will be surprises and shocks. So a long date will not help you. Plus, if I really want to marry you, I'll continue acting. So you will never know me. Then when we get married, I'll reveal who I am. So don't kid yourself.
From Alfred. Hi, Uncle. You made mention last week of the fact that no one can never come to knowing the partner fully, no matter how long they've been married. My question is, what importance does courtship bring to marriage then?
Courtship helps you to confirm for yourself whether the feeling you have for the person is not infatuation, whether it's not just a passing fad. That is what courtship would do. Courtship would also help you, hopefully, to come to the conclusion whether there is enough that you've seen already in this person that makes you feel that it is worth your while to take the risk and to make the commitment. So courtship has its place.
Ifua says, is the guy supposed to name the stepchild after him or leave it as it is?
It wouldn't make much of a difference. I wouldn't. If I wouldn't insist on it. No. I don't need to have my name upon you. I don't need to possess you for you to become my child, in real sense. So no, he doesn't need that. There are cases where the child may need, sometimes when the other children, some other children come in, when you and the two of you have children of your own, and they are different names, this child with a different name will begin to ask questions, because quite often they grow up not quite understanding what it means to say that this is not quite my real dad, not my biological child, but he's my dad. And the younger siblings will continue to ask questions. Why are you called Kabute? And we are called Amatefio. And so that is where sometimes it may be necessary to try and get the kind of name that would make the statement that you are all siblings. But beyond that, really, I don't quite see the need for that.
Uncle, I grew up in a home where it's normal for one to take care of the other. How do I learn to take care of myself without feeling selfish? I'm very guilty when it comes to taking care of myself.
Well, if you grew up in a house where everybody took care of everybody, the need for you to take care of yourself did not become pronounced because people were stepping in and doing that for you. So it became easier. In a relationship, it doesn't always work. That level does not work. And so you owe it to yourself to pay attention to yourself.
Uncle from Jalal, at what point would it have been enough for having studied a potential partner?
Well, you've found another way of asking me how long should courtship be. And the answer is still the same, that nobody can legislate that.
Uncle Eunice is asking, is helping him to pay the bride price right?
Well, you are ready to go and negotiate on his behalf. So if the family is not paying attention to it and it matters to you, then you could help him.
From Alexander, what should I do if my wife during dinner prays profusely just because my mother brought the food from the village?
Ignore her. Ignore her. She's just acting out her fears. Don't pay too much heed to it. Eat the food.
As he says, some school of thought equate caring for a man as cooking, washing, etc. for him, even when you are not married. Since I don't believe in playing the wifely role before marriage, am I hurting my chances?
No, you are not, and you are being wise. Don't play, and to all the ladies there, don't be a wife when you are not a wife. It doesn't help. So going to his house, cleaning, washing, cooking, no, you're not doing right. I don't advise it. If he wants that, let him hurry up and marry you.
Now says, Uncle, please, what should we do to a husband who does not compliment but rather complains when you go wrong?
That's another man who needs to grow and needs to learn that these things are important and they are required of him.
Thank you, Uncle, for all the wisdom. God bless you. I'm in a long-distance relationship. My man is in Ghana and I'm abroad. He is in ministry and I am a young professional. Sometimes financially he struggles and he asks for money. I don't want to be in a situation where he depends on me financially. What's your advice?
Wow. He's in ministry. What kind of ministry? Ghana, those who are in ministry, they make money off. They make money. So how come he's not making money? He should have been sending you money. I am in trouble. I know I'm in trouble. From all the ministers out there who are going to go, hey, what does it mean? I hope you can take a joke. Young lady, this issue of supporting a man financially when he hasn't married you, and long distance at that, the risks inherent in it are too many. There are too many. You realize I'm struggling to answer the question, and I'm struggling to answer the question because I know of too many cases where women have sacrificed so much for a man only to discover that he was into somebody else, or they have lost out. So since your man is into ministry, I expect that you are also a Christian. You may not be into ministry yourself, but I'm sure that if you are relating to somebody who is into ministry, then you have some faith. So start praying. Ask God for wisdom and guidance and direction. And let's see what the Spirit of God leads you to do. But it's not an easy thing to answer. I hope you forgive me if I haven't answered it right. Well, on that rather difficult question, we'll bring the curtain down. I'd like to thank you for making the time to be with us. I don't take that for granted. For those of you in Ghana, on the 1st of October at the National Theatre, we are repeating my play, The Comeback. There will be a matinee at 3 o'clock for students, at 4 for students, and then the regular show will be, the evening show will be at 7:30. If you missed The Comeback, I hope you don't miss it this time. But if you also did not miss it and you'd like to come back again, we would be more than happy to welcome you. May God bless and keep you. May He protect you. May He let His goodness and His love surround you. And may your way be clear. Thank you, and see you, God willing, next week.
Thought-provoking, motivational, inspirational, attitude, values, faith, soul-inspiring content, value for money. New Look, the magazine that reports on our values, attitudes, and faith for discerning people. Rover Report Monthly Magazine. Get your copies from all Shell shops, Total shops, and a supermarket near you. Or call 0302 231188 for subscription.